Randy done screwed up already.
No accounting for talent. We ain't got no talent here.
It's like a clown college.
It's like I'm playing cards with my brother's kids.
Ta-da! Here we are. Somebody might have hit the wrong button backstage before the show
Chuck,
started.
you fixed it.
I'm blaming Chuck. I mean, he's in the,
What'd
he's
I
into
fix?
productions. He's into production.
You're not
scene.
hazy anymore.
Yeah, because that was OBS. I put it back to regular.
But now you
OBS
shouldn't need
was
OBS
not
with your
doing
new
good.
dingus, right? You could just completely bypass OBS.
Probably.
Yes? No?
I don't know. But I can do it with the camera too. See, the light went out.
Oh,
See?
that looks good. This is perfect.
Hey, Brian.
damn.
Thank you for your membership. Brian has been a member for 2 months.
Yeah, Brian. Thank you.
K0HO. Hey, Brian. Thank
We
you.
appreciate it, man. Right, Ron? It's a hazy shade of winter there in his secure, undisclosed location. So, Ape is back with us tonight
Hi.
after being gone for a week. And I do have an announcement to make before we get started. Our operatives were able to capture pictures of him on his vacation while
His
he
vacation.
was gone. And this is what I got sent back. So, I don't know.
Well, that tells
look
way
good.
too much, I think, man. That
Seems-
tells too
seem-
much there.
Seems a little sus to me. Just saying.
I look good in that picture.
Right.
You
have
make
a
that
top
picture
bunk
look
the
or a
good.
Mickey's
bottom
hat.
bunk?
Yeah, I gotta
Oh,
find
he's a
that
bottom
Mickey's
all
hat.
the way.
Well, one day that Maxpedition hat is going to fall off your head, and then we'll see your head again.
Yeah, it's the Maxpedition hat's not doing good, and I was looking at 511 hats. I shudder to think of wearing a 511 hat as opposed to the Maxpedition, but I might have to do it.
I mean,
I was
511.
at 511 store today. It's a nice place. You could spend about $1,000 there, easy.
Yeah.
We have one of those here in town.
Yeah.
I've never been in there.
Well, you have to go down
There's
there and
one
do a
up-
video.
There's one up by the yurt. I
have-
drive by it all the time.
The 511 store came after I got out of the fire department, so I didn't really feel need to go in there and buy any tactical pants. I'm good.
That's all I wear is
Well, if
tactical
you
pants.
did some
I
POTUS,
couldn't
if you did some
imagine you in
POTUS,
tactical pants, Jim.
Actually, every time you've ever seen me, I've been wearing tactical pants. The old lady buys me LL Bean.
LL Bean tactical pants. Get the out of here with
Cargo
that. Yes.
cargo pants
Son.
are not tactical pants.
What makes
Yeah,
it
that's a
tactical?
little different.
Cargo pockets on the side?
Oh no, it's
No.
gotta have a
And a belt
brand
hook.
name. Brand.
It's got a brand,
that
yeah.
that makes it.
My
tactical.
511 Tac Light Pros have like a Teflon coating on them.
So you can stop a bullet with
You
your
know
butt
what-
cheek?
Yeah.
No, but it'll be clean. He can't stop it, but it'll be clean.
Okay.
the
There you
LATD ones are nice.
Blood will
It's got
not
it's got a
escape.
rescue
price.
strap. It's got a flashlight pocket.
go. Very good.
And we got a
I picked up
other
some
ant-
strikers.
we got some stuff we need to play the horn.
We'll do it.
Hopefully
Horn it
Salty Sandy's not around. I don't want to upset that guy.
Right.
Thank you, Andy. Don't be sleeping on Dean though.
I'll tell you what, Andy-
You click on the horn.
All right, Andy hooked me up the other day. I'll tell you about it in 1 second.
Very different Sandy. but,
He,
but same reason.
Appreciate
Don't
it.
get me wrong. Same exact reason.
Let me
Right.
see if I can find it. He was telling me about this website that I bought a bunch of capacitors off of.
Dave, that's actually the reason I just wasn't saying that. They're not big and tall 511 pants.
You're not
Tube
big and tall.
Depot.
Well, you're just big.
TubeDepot.com.
That's for Jim. That's not for Dave. I respect Dave.
I'm not overweight. I'm under tall.
Right.
Oh, look, we've awakened the thumb.
Shortness makes him look
A little
heavy.
early in the day for Thump, ain't it?
Yeah, he's normally not up yet.
This
If
is the night show, man. Remember?
That's what I said.
You might be right, Rob.
Sometimes I really get up until like 8 o'clock at night.
Thump has
Listen,
been a big
all I
help
know-
on our new Moxen project, though.
Yeah.
All I know is the people who say that we should believe the earth is round are the government and the scientists. And we all know that we shouldn't believe a word that either one of those groups say.
Right. That is true.
So I will not be indoctrinated.
I don't. Well, they're from the government. They're,
Sandy, how you doing, buddy?
they're from the government. They're here to help.
Is he here?
He's-
He is here. Never listen to us in bed, Sandy. That's the safety tip you should take away from this show. Ed,
right.
Philly Ed, been around for 18 months.
Wow.
Play it.
That's a subtle hint there, Randy.
Play it up.
What are we playing?
Any
my
horn you
God.
like for Mr. Ed.
Play a horn
All right,
for
let me-
Mr. Ed.
Let me find
It's
it
like
over
I'm playing
here.
cards with my brother's kid.
Listen, man, I am, still out of practice. I got to get back into the live streaming thing. I missed
To your groove, right?
I missed like
Yeah.
2 or 3 of these things.
One
Yeah, you
one
did.
vacation wiped out your entire amount of
everything.
brains that you have left.
It ain't much. It ain't much.
Well, they didn't have Miller Lite at Joliet
Oh,
Correctional.
oh,
so,
oh,
you know.
oh, what?
What?
Evan, what?
Is Evan back
Evan,
around
my
talking
man.
mess?
Wow.
Evan's going to
Evan,
give
is
away an
this-
FT70, whether this is a joke or not.
Is this a new FT70 or is this one you drove over with your car accidentally?
I don't
and
care.
you-
FT70s are awesome.
Okay.
I read it
as
just wanna
710
try and
there for a
set
second.
Expectations. Somebody
I
may
will
be
set it up.
expecting a new inbox, and I mean, I don't
New
think we should do it
unboxing?
to the end of the show, though. We shouldn't. You want to do it
Just
now?
do it. Do it whenever.
Still going to set it up.
Do it.
That
Just
is
do it.
awful
set it up.
nice of
Set it
Evan
up. Just set it
Baccarat.
up. It is.
Not a joke.
Thank you, Evan.
Speaking of Jesus, on Saturday,
Evan,
we got a
I'm
little something
assuming
special.
that this is a continental United States only giveaway. Evan,
Ah, I pushed the wrong button. Can't get good help
Usually
these
it
days.
is.
good Lord, both of you is just losing it.
We're going to collect these for a while. We're not going to tell you when we're going to do the giveaway. It might be now. It might be at the end of the show.
It might be
But we're going to start
later.
collecting these.
Yeah.
Y'all give a big shout out to Evan, and Evan will really appreciate that.
Thanks,
Shout
Evan.
out.
I'll just keep
You're
this
all right.
behind
Thanks,
the
Evan.
scenes.
Steve, that is genius, man. You've recovered from your
Look at this, Doc
I have good
Brad
ideas.
gave a super chat. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Well, Ape wanted to go to prison because that is where Miller beer comes from. Is
Thanks,
it's made
Brad.
in prison.
Listen, I
Runs
don't
right
care
out of
where
the
it comes
latrine.
from.
Comes from the latrine.
And I'll let him remain nameless, but somebody was posting pictures of pastry beer in one of the discords that I belong to. And I find that my authority level increases the more discords I belong to. But I'm like, son, if I saw
Pastry beer.
if I bought pastry beer, first off, I'd send somebody in to buy it for me because the shame. I wouldn't want to see my ancestors looking down from the heavens above, seeing me buying pastry beer.
Graham looking at you.
I can only imagine the shame that the
No,
people
would be upset. That's right. Well, not only that, but your
So,
wife
so
would
let's
probably put you out of
define
the
pastry.
house.
Are you talking like an IPA? Or are you talking like a wheat beer? A
All I know is
Hefeweizen? What do you?
It said on the can, pastry dam beer.
Oh.
It didn't say dam,
Oh,
but it
never
said
mind.
pastry beer. Right?
Oh,
When it says pastry on the can, just wave off.
So like,
yeah,
so
but
like
if it
bear
was
claw
Hefeweizen,
beer
I
or
might be
strawberry
able to forgive
Danish
that.
beer or something pissy pants.
I don't know what it was, but I got to tell you, I wouldn't drink it if I had a gun in my head. I'd be like, nope, not going to drink some
Brian is correct.
mamby pastry.
come
beer.
on. You would. You know you would.
Brian is correct. That's right.
No.
The only fruit allowable in
beer.
beer is lime. None of this orange crap.
Yeah, and only for your Mexican beers. Only for your Mexican beers. All right.
I do like Modelo.
Alrighty.
Modelo, is that how do you say it?
Modelo.
Modelo.
The best-selling beer in the world.
Modelo.
Well,
I
it's
like
gotten
that.
expensive
61 for Evan
because
so far.
the
Dos Equis
hipsters.
is really good too.
The hipsters have made it expensive. Back when I was a kid and worked in the restaurant, we had and we were all underage. There was a guy from Mexico there, and we'd have to pay for it, but he would buy beer, and then we would all drink it while we were working, and we'd always get Modelo.
So let's
There ain't
talk
nothing-
real quick. Cheladas, or what's the other one? Michelada? I don't know.
Yeah, I
Forgive me
don't.
for my pronunciation skills, but can we do the clamato and beer and spicy
No.
spicy salt around the rim?
The Clamato is a Bud Light
It's
product,
actually pretty good.
and I'm not going to bring any of that
Clamato.
up. But I'm not doing it.
One step back. Clamato is like oyster juice and tomato juice. No, clam
juice.
juice and tomato juice combined.
Clam juice and tomato juice.
Right.
Part of that growth me out. Part of that is like, that might be interesting.
I've never
It's
had
actually
Clamato.
pretty good.
I mean, I like a Bloody Mary.
I like Bloody Marys, and I like a drink. It's called a Red Eye, and it's half beer, Miller Lite, of course, and like tomato juice
course.
and a shot of Tabasco.
See, it
Sweet
sounds
Jesus.
good, but I'm afraid to try it. I really am afraid to try it.
We used to get those down in San Felipe, the clamatos.
I don't know about
down
putting a clam
Baja.
liquor. Putting a clam
They're
liquor in
pretty
there,
good.
it sounds kind of
Pretty
gross.
refreshing when it's hot out, man.
I've never had one. I kind of think that clam liquor would probably go with tomato juice. It'd be saltier, maybe. I don't know.
I like salty beer.
Son, I ain't tried one. I don't think it'd be terrible. Maybe I'll report on that this weekend. I'll go buy some Clamato from the grocery store and try
It's
it.
calling us out, man.
Yeah, well,
All right.
Do you not like beer, Ed? I know you
Ed,
better.
do you not like fun? Do you not like witty banter? I mean,
You know
we're not.
it does.
We're only 12 minutes in, and we're actually almost to the radio part. On Clubhouse, this is like another 30, 40 minutes. of
is
banter.
Kyle streaming today?
He is at 8 o'clock.
So you better get started, son. Chip, chop.
Chop. That's right. So what we wanted to do tonight, and me and the primate.
Hey, let me
have
show my
some-
winder. Can I show my winder real quick?
He just wants to show off his switch,
He
his camera
wants to
switch.
show off his. Oh, look at him!
Look at
him
that.
with his camera switch.
This
So
is out
precious.
of oak. Oh yeah, he
Let
took
me
the
let me embiggen you,
piece of
Charles.
oak. It was
Hey, Chuck,
Thank you,
great,
Devin.
thanks.
Rude
Okay,
or
so
genius?
now moving on. Moving on. All right, Chuck, try
Now,
it again.
that was I saved this out of an old drawer that my wife she got rid of a little cabinet, and so I saved.
It was
I
in
always
them
save
in them
nice wood.
drawers.
It was, yes, and I need to find some better drill bits because the ones I had kind of chunked out. But this was I built this thing pretty fast for a video, so
You got a little tear out there, son.
What
It
are you
did.
talking about,
That was
Chuck? We
those-
see this thing about Evan on the screen. What are you talking about again?
I don't know, man.
Was he talking again? I forgot.
You guys, I mean, you finally let me talk, and then you turn me off.
I don't turn
wait a
you off.
minute.
I don't turn you off at all.
You
We
don't
can
turn
talk
me
about
on.
it on stream though.
Evan Baccarat wants to come on the stream.
I'm sending him a link. This ought to be interesting.
All right.
Evan, I hope
Evan-
you have your clothes on.
Clothing is required.
Right. Maybe upgrade that green screen a little bit.
And then we got Chris Bricker. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
You know, you can print
Devin
with wood
is a new
fibers
member. I
now.
think we missed Devin.
We
can.
no, we caught Devin. You actually
We caught
brought
Devin.
Devin
We did.
up in front of Chuck. You covered Chuck with Devin.
Yes,
You don't even
covered
remember
me
you.
with Devin.
You're geezing, old man. You're geezing.
It's very possible.
Geezer.
I'm stressing out today.
You're
We'll
a
not talk
geezer.
about that on the show.
Yeah, he's suffering from a medical condition that we will not discuss.
I am suffering from a medical condition.
He spent
Woosah.
about 6 minutes setting up that picture of you, Abe. Make
Ryan,
that
you ain't missed
didn't
nothing.
See it beforehand.
All right, James, get to doing.
We were waiting for him. Come
I
on,
thought we
James.
were waiting
Show us
for
what we're
Evan to
doing.
come on.
Oh, we
I
are.
sent him the link.
Where
You
is
know
he?
how long this
He's right
could
there.
take. He's got to get dressed.
Oh, that's
That's
not
not
him.
him.
That's
That's
the
not him, Chuck.
prize.
Okay.
That's just the word, Evan.
There he
Well,
is.
geez, there goes
It's
another-
Bearcat. It's Bearcat.
Bearcat. Nice. I got him.
Hello.
Hello,
Oh, hello.
Evan.
I have this radio right here just to give away with a charger.
Evan, you are
Nice.
awesome.
Oh, the charger's
Excellent.
worth every penny because it makes it charge way faster than that.
Yes,
than the
way
regular way.
faster than USB.
Way faster.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
So I don't know if you guys know, but I bought a FT M500 and a FT 5D.
Big money Evan
Or
over
both.
here.
Yeah, so
Both.
just thought I would pay it forward.
I am not the only
That
one
is
that's
awesome.
folding paper around here, is what I'm hearing. Look at him folding some paper today.
I think he was unfolding it.
How many entries you got, Steve?
Evan, give me a magic number. We're at 77
Not
right
enough yet.
now. What do you think, brother?
How many people are watching?
157.
157.
Give
So
it
we're almost-
give it just a few more minutes. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
We talking 80? We talking 85?
You guys saw the radio. It's for real.
I mean,
90?
it's 5D, and it's the
And-
blessed digital mode.
And
It's the
I'm gonna
fusion.
pay the shipping. So
It's
how,
a
There's no reason not to enter.
yeah,
Evan,
digital,
is this a,
digital
is this a
radio.
continental U.S. only, or is this overseas also?
this is USA only.
U.S. only.
Okay. Because shipping all them the
Oh.
ARRL.
Brian, I
handbook
like
stuff
your
last year
thinking.
was a bit pricey.
Brian, I'm going to do this. This is going to happen. White Elephant Coffee and Ham Radios. This is going to happen. Merry
Christmas.
Christmas,
I like
y'all.
it.
This is happening.
Merry Christmas.
I
think
got
that'll be a
some
great show around
Retivus
Christmas
radios
time.
to give away. I got to set up a stream for that.
Oh, I have some crap y'all are going to want.
I mean,
Like
I have
a
a-
random
I have a
bag of crap,
fuse.
like on Woot.
stuff.
Steve, I think you ought to get the crappy crap and just
Thank
like
you,
just
Jason.
random. No one knows
Thanks,
what
Jason.
they're getting.
Hef. Nice.
I
Thank you
believe
very
the
much, Hef.
Evan is case
And
sensitive, folks.
Our
Yeah,
buddy
it is.
Glenn
Yeah,
wants to
all
identify
caps.
as U.S. only. Glenn, for the low price of your own personal shipping costs, you can identify as U.S. only. Please enter. We're at 96, Evan. What do you say, brother?
I say just hit it.
Let's hit it.
Spin it,
Hit it.
Steve-O. Oh, look at H.O. Bob is getting. Bob, you're giving away your TID radio, son?
Bob's giving away his TIDs.
That dirty
Aaron!
thing will do 10 watts, though, man. Aaron,
Congrats,
let's-
Aaron.
That's not a
That's Canadian.
That's Canadian.
Canada.
Oh,
Aaron, are you paying shipping or are you hamming it forward?
Yeah.
You let us know in the chat. We got you, Aaron. You tell us one way or the other.
I could tell you shipping on that's going to be about $20 to Canada. 25 maybe.
He's paying for shipping.
That
there
is.
you go.
Oh, he is paying for shipping. Done deal. Thank you very much, Aaron. You are the winner. Congratulations,
Nice, Aaron.
my friend. Now we've
Aaron,
got
are
this
you good on
TID
the
radio
Zed?
to give away.
Well, Canadian shipping's not terrible. It's a little pricier.
Yeah, and thanks for doing
we
that,
set up-
Bob. It's awful nice of you.
Yeah.
If you guys send it to Don, he could probably drive it over the border. As long as he didn't get caught.
Well, it depends on which end of Canada Aaron's
How about
on.
Molson meets Don
That's
at
true.
the border?
That's true.
And he just handed over the fence or something.
He may-
Yeah.
yeah.
Through
chuck
the
it over
fence. Through the fence.
Just reach over.
All right. Are you setting up, Bob?
I am.
Okay.
He is.
Sorry,
In
I
the
didn't mean
interest-
to jet y'all's show tonight. I just thought
Dude, it's fine.
We have
could-
had no
eat.
show.
we could pretend this is coffee or clubhouse, coffee and clubhouse, and just screw off for the next 30 minutes anyway.
Yeah, check out HOA Ham on YouTube because Bob is your brother in HOA commiseration. Bob, Bob, and the Karens. This is it right
know,
here.
Right.
Bob,
And
Yeah,
Bob
HOA
has
complained
battle
about my
with
package,
Karen.
man.
He's
you
nice
see
on
him?
I
the
don't want to hear
streams.
about it. I do not want to hear about your relationship with Bob, Chuck. Sorry, grown-up show.
No. He was complaining about how I packed his antenna.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
He was
But
cussing me out there, man.
Evan, did
Oh,
you
he had
get
to use the
Aaron's call
bandsaw to
sign
get
so
it
you could
open?
Look him up.
Had to use the bandsaw.
I
to
sent
open
it to him.
I was gonna ask
Okay.
y'all what do y'all have any contact information for him, or like an email at least or something?
He's on the
I
Zed.
am double checking. We have
Okay.
no clue, but if he said he's good on the Z, then he is good on the Z. You know how that is. I'm scrolling for you, brother.
So what
But
we're
on,
going to talk about tonight, and we'll intersperse this with the unscheduled giveaways. And Ape, I think you should give something away too. You said you got crap to give away.
I do, but they want me to do a live stream on my channel to give it away.
They-
And then
oh.
I get the names and then they ship it to the people directly.
Oh,
410.
okay.
Yeah, because
So
doesn't
I'll
it
tell
have
you
to-
what.
It's got to go to Jim first because he's your.
He is my, it goes to my intermediary who then gets it to Jim and then
Right.
Jim gets it to somebody.
Right.
I'll tell you what, Evan, you should reach out to Aaron on QRZ. If Aaron doesn't reach out to Evan, Evan, what's your call sign?
KG1ADP.
KG1ADP.
Oh yeah.
Whichever one of the two of you reaches out first, because you guys need to coordinate shipping costs, and he is willing to pay shipping costs. So that is awesome.
Eric, there
So-
you go, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. The wall mounts. Forgot
I
about
got
that.
6 of them. Well, 5. I'm reserving 1 for out in the shop. I haven't put it up yet.
We got 79. Let's get to an even 80, and I'll hit the draw.
There
Oh,
it
we
is.
are. Whoa,
There
that
it
just
is.
happened. Draw.
You say it and
Thank
it
you, Bob.
happens, Steve.
That's how I am.
Iowa
I'm surprised that-
wait,
Jeff,
it goes real slow.
AA4BC, you are the winner. Jeff, are you good on the Z? Jeff and Bob, please communicate with each other and make this happen.
I can't believe there's that many. You guys, it took us a while to get on that Yesu, and you guys went right for that TID, man. I don't know.
Well, we
I
got,
got both. I know which one's
160
better.
some.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then there's 15
Okay.
people, I guess.
Oh,
Evan?
his email address is on here, so I'm good, guys. Thank you.
You're
There you
welcome.
go.
Thank you, Evan.
Evan, thank you.
Good to have
We
you on.
appreciate
Thank
it,
you for
buddy.
the giveaway. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Thanks, Evan.
All right. See y'all guys later. Thank
See
you.
you, brother.
See ya. You're awesome.
Later.
The
All
amazing
right,
Evan.
Evan and Bob, thank y'all. That's awesome.
Yes, I am on QRZ. Awesome. Thank you very much, Jeff. Congratulations.
Good deal. All right. So we're talking about lab night tonight, and Ape, I wanted to do this too, and Ape's got his stuff to show too, and we'll talk about several things. But we've talked about some of these handheld radios before, and we've mentioned them. They've been on various YouTube channels being reviewed,
I got
and
those.
here and there. This is an Abri AR869, which is French. And
Right.
this is a Baofeng, which I believe is Croatian. So, and I've got, I actually have our friend the Tid is here, the Quanshang K5, and another Baofeng, the only Baofeng I've ever seen that didn't completely suck.
I got one for you.
And this is a Radiotity GC5 that is hooked up right now. So if we pop over to this screen here,
Jim, can I do some housekeeping? I got 2 things for you.
Yes.
do it, son.
Yes.
Do it.
Number 1, our friend Glenn, Aussie Ham Radio, VK2 HTV. Check out his YouTube channel if you haven't already. He has a D-Star question. Are we XRF 546 Alpha? I think the answer is yes.
No, the answer is no.
No,
Yes,
we
changed.
changed.
We've always changed. The website name was wrong. It's always been XLX 546. And the website is now changed to XLX 546. We are XLX
Awesome.
546A. The Yesu room, and none of this is working. I'm waiting on Brandmeister to answer their ticket, and they haven't done it yet.
Scoundrels.
Scoundrels. Well, it's free, and what do you expect? So when it comes
XLX.
back up and starts working, it is, well, it's always been XLX 546A on D-Star. The Fusion side got changed again. So the Fusion
Yay.
side, if you look it up in your Pi, it will be XLX 546 as well. Not to be confused with the D-Star XLX 546A. They're different things.
Mhm.
And then the DMR one is still going to be 319-2083. And I'll tell you right now, it's not working. None of it's working right. It's up and down. And
We might have to nuggets this out. And then Richie's Radio Room has a super sticker.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you very much, Richie. Much appreciated.
So-
And Frank, y'all are rocking it. Frank, we haven't done anything yet.
I mean,
We're just
geez.
doing giveaways. We're just helping the group out. Thank you, Frank. I think we
Frank and
can
I were
try
hitting
now.
Simon
Jim.
up last night.
Okay.
Ham jazz.
Yes, Ken Lewis. I would love to get that guy on. I have tried to talk to him in their forum. It's hard to get answers out of him, but he seems like a pretty sharp guy. I get the impression that whole thing is not really his full-time thing. It's a side hustle. So,
Why not both, Glenn?
right. Anyway, so tonight we wanted to go over some test gear and show you some of the stuff that we look at when we're testing radios. So, and Steve has been doing this on his channel, and Chuck has in his hands, not physically at the moment,
Oh,
a tiny
no, I did.
SA, and we are going to learn Chuck some tiny.
There it
look at
is.
that. There he is.
Jim, hang on. We cannot actually have a show tonight. It's not allowed anymore. It's just over. It's over.
I'm
You know
fine.
what?
We can fake it and we can push it all back. It's fine.
Jody, just for you.
Are you sick of those boring foam coffee cups? Well, introducing the all-new stainless steel black tumbler from Coffee and Ham Radios. Crafted for coffee lovers and ham radio enthusiasts alike. With its tip-proof design, you'll never spill a drop. The latchable lid keeps your hot drinks hot and your cold drinks cold. Don't wait. Get yours today from coffeeandhamradios.com, and while you're there, check out some of those antennas. They're going off like coffee and ham radio.
Awesome.
We lost the ape.
He's rearranging his.
He's there. He's rearranging.
He's changing his feng shui.
His feng shui.
He'll add himself back whenever he's ready.
So
carry on, Jim.
So the radio I've got set up here, this is the, and it's already hooked up, so I can't really hold it up well. This is the Radioddity GC5. And I think Ape and I did a live stream with this a couple of months ago, or I did a video on it, I know. So what you're looking at here, what you're looking at here on the screen is the, is the spectrum analyzer. And this is a Siglent SVA 1015X, which is a combination spectrum analyzer and VNA all in one box. And if you look on the screen, and it doesn't show up real well, but there's a thin red line, and there's little text on it over on the right-hand side that says display line minus 1602 dBm. So
can you wave your mouse over it?
Yeah, I can actually. I didn't think about that. I was looking at the video. So right here,
Look at that.
1602 minus 1602 dBm, and this is.
We need to explain that a little bit more. What that number means. I know what it means. You know what it means, but like we need to go deep on that because that means something to somebody.
Right, which is where I'm going. So,
Prompting.
Right. Thank you, Steve. You were
You're
throwing
welcome.
it to me, right? So
I
missed
was.
that professional cue. So what we're going to do is we're going to key up this radio, and when we key up this radio, our reference level here is set to 30 dBm, and I can change this to watts if you'd rather look at watts. And we'll see our fundamental. Our frequency range is down here at the bottom. We're starting at 140 megahertz. Our center frequency is 470, and we're stopping at 800 because we're looking for harmonics on the radio. All right. So when we key this up, and this is a good bit faster than a Tiny SA. It's also a good bit more expensive.
It is, and it is.
So this is our reference frequency over here, coming up at 30 dBm, or right about 1 watt. And then these are the harmonics. And I thought I had the table turned on.
Yeah, show the data table, son. This is amateur night.
Those are a lot of harmonics.
Yes. Table on.
That's ugly. Which radio is this again, Jim?
This is the Radioddity GC5.
Ooh. And high power or low power?
This is on high power.
Oh. You got a bad one.
Yeah, this is a flaming turd.
Mine is not as bad as yours is. I might have to ship you mine.
I would love to get my hands on yours. Yeah.
And the radio.
You're gonna say that publicly?
Your radio.
Maybe it's the instrument.
So
it could be.
If you look down here, you'll see. Let me change this over
Look at
to
that, it
watts real
tells you.
quick. And let's
put it on watts because that's a freaking mess.
That is horrible. More harmonics than Boys to Men. Nice, Dell. I love it. That is so horrible.
Yeah.
You have 6 harmonics. Mine only had 1.
Most of them will have that many harmonics. So one of the reasons you're seeing all these harmonics on Jim's is he has a bigger dynamic range on that than on the Tiny SA. Right. So you'll have harmonics that are below the noise floor that come through. Now, when you take a look at this, something's not set right because your primary should be about 2 or 3 watts and it's reading milliwatts.
I know. I don't know.
Damn it, Jim.
So the reference offset is 30 dB, which accounts for the attenuator. And then this is the front end attenuation. We could turn it down, but.
Well, see, the built-in front end attenuator should automatically be accounted for.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. That was on 20.
So Jim's asking if that's a log scale or if that's just straight up numbers.
It's a logarithmic scale.
It's a logarithmic scale.
So
Oh,
if you take a look at
Ed,
the top
I like
right hand
it.
corner of his screen, it says log right under there.
Nice.
Let me make sure I'm. Oh, it is on. It's on low power. My bad.
Well, that's low power should be higher than less than a milliwatt. But
So
the thing is
behind
that
the scenes, Jim and
No,
I have
low
had a
power is
question
a
about
watt.
this.
That's
My low power
976
and my high
milliwatts. It's-
power were different, and Jim's low power and Jim didn't do high power. So now here we are trying both on a better piece
Let
of
me do high
equipment.
power. All right.
We'll wait.
There's high power.
Yeah, your third is below. Your first is not. Your second is not.
Yep. And that cleans up when you go to high power, which is what you saw, Steve.
It
Where's
is.
the line at
Isn't
now?
that right?
It's hard to see, but it's right above the one.
Well, this is
so
what
if you
really-
hook this up to like an SWR watt meter, that's probably going to read 5 watts because you have
Yeah.
4 on the primary, and then you have 1 on the first or
Right.
the second harmonic,
exactly
right? And that's how people get fooled. Like they'll do a power test with just a little SWR meter and be like, "Hell, boy, my stuff good on 5 watts," but it's really not.
it's really not.
You know, now that is odd that you get a cleaner spectrum on higher power than you do on lower power. Typically, it's the other way around because you get saturation in your finals, and then your
Exactly.
radio will perform worse.
Exactly.
Now, if we go back to here's low power again.
That's shocking, right? Because it should be using the same filtering system,
Exactly.
regardless of power level.
Right. Right. So our buddy Hayden, VK7HH Ham Radio DX on your YouTube dial, says that you have a different ability to saturate the filter on high power than you do on low power. I am not smart enough to speak to this, but our buddy Hayden is, and maybe a couple of guys on stream here are.
Is Lee in here? Lee should probably be able to talk about that.
And while we're looking
he's-
for Lee,
But
Our friend
he's-
Chris-
he's down with the cooties. So
he is. Our friend Chris says, how much of this is a percentage of quality in the manufacturing process between one GC5 and another GC5? And how much
Yes.
of this is bad design? And that's a good question. And I think the answer is right. Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be both of them. And so the thing
parts-
is that
yeah.
you would be more likely to cause a problem in your filter at higher power than lower power, right? And it's the same thing with your finals. So when the more power that you put into your finals, the more distortion that you're going to get, and it's going to represent itself as in form of harmonics. I have no idea why the lower power would be worse, but it doesn't make much sense.
And Glenn's
this is
asking if you took care of the attenuator. I think you did.
yes, it's a 30 dB attenuator, and that's accounted for down there in the lower right with reference offset.
So you have a attenuator built in of 29 and then a reference offset of 30.
The
So,
the
yes.
built-in attenuator is for the front end, and that's accounted for automatically.
Yeah, so what you
That-
should be
and then-
seeing is an adjusted value when you key up that is
Yep.
correct. That would show you if you had 0 attenuation.
And
Right. And our
I've
buddy
changed
Don
over-
is.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jim. Okay. Our buddy
Well,
Don's
Ron-
asking, overseas radio standards vary per country. They don't vary per country. We're only talking about U.S. standards here because that's all we care about.
That's all we know about.
Take it away, Jim.
So this is the TID radio, and this is on high power. What? Wait, what? I know,
Why
right?
is it clean?
Yeah. Let's switch this bad boy over to low power.
Did that come with an Amazon box, or did it come straight from China?
Mine came from China.
I think this came
Second
straight
one.
from China. I'm
So,
almost positive it did.
They
I
sent me
can't-
3 of them. 2 of them were bad, came from Amazon. The good one came from China. I believe it's doctored. That's a
I
terrible
believe
thing
you're
for me to
right.
say in it, but I suspect that's the case because since they said that they have issued a recall, and I don't know if anybody who got one got a message in the mail saying, "Hey, your radio's been recalled." People are still telling me that, "Hey, I just ordered one off Amazon and it's got the problem."
Now this is low power.
Jim,
Steve.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to make sure everybody in the chat posts the word question in front of their question, and then I will save those until the end, because we've been doing a lot of interruptions, and this is really not up to our Coffee and Ham Radio's Cafe Noir standards. This is like turning into a completely other stream that we don't want to do that. We want to be
Are we going to go over tonight, do you think? Or are we going to cut off
I think we might.
Let's go over. I don't care.
So this,
Hey, Ape.
what Ape was talking about is something we've discussed privately before. I think some of these radios that are getting in the hands of YouTubers, and this was sent to me via Coffee and Ham Radio, so they know we're a YouTube channel. And this TID looks way better than any of the ones Ape had. So
I've seen Ape's TIDs. They're not that great.
Right?
Yeah.
I seen them
So
too
Ape,
in
we should do
Huntsville,
mine.
Dayton, you know?
Because mine came from China also, and it's actually got a newer. It was newer than yours even on the firmware. It was later than yours was.
We could try it.
Yeah, we should
The
do
other
that.
one I wanted to make sure to show. I got a couple that I wanted to share with y'all.
I do have one, Tim, and I've got a video on it showing that it's clean. I did a video programming it from Chirp, and I might have done another video. No, I did two. I like the RA89.
I think this. He's asking if Colin's asking if we bought from 409 shop.
I have not.
I think that's where Mr. Hawaii buys all his stuff.
That's upside down, Jim.
Todd
yes,
from Hawaii.
because I can't. The cable.
That's upside down, man.
Yes, this is the Abri
AR69. That's what you're checking now.
That thing's a turd.
And
let's see that one.
It's just a turd. It doesn't.
You said this
have
was the
any
worst one you've ever done.
harmonics. Yes. This one is really bad for several reasons. First of all, so if you look at, and I need to do this in dB, and it would work out if we just switch the scale, but none of these harmonics are greater than 40 dB down from the fundamental, number one, and none of them are less than 25 microwatts, which is what the red line is showing when we're in dBm mode. So if I change over to dB, so 35 dBm for the fundamental. The standard is 40 dBm below the fundamental and less than 16.02 dBm of power output. And as you can see, every one of these numbers is above the red line of doom. And this is our fundamental here at 35 dBm, 23, we'll call it 23, is only 13 dBm below the fundamental. So this is at 293 megahertz. This guy's at 439.2, so if I turned on my Fang and set it to 439.2, I could hear me talking just fine on this thing all day.
Do it.
And then this one's at 586. And this is the point I want to make with this radio specifically, although the other ones are just as bad in some other ways. So 586 is in the public safety range. So when you're keying this radio up, talking to your buddy, talking shite on, 146.52 or whatever, you're broadcasting that traffic into the public safety bands. So, you let your conscience be your guide. It may look cool. And I saw somebody recently in one of our Discords ordered the Radtel version of this same radio. I don't have the Radtel version. I have the Abri version, but it's the same radio. And if it's the same hardware as this one, it's a flaming turd. So
I think real quick, Robert has a good point here. We have eclipsed our own, whatever you want to call it. We do this all day long, and we forget about people who are new and don't necessarily understand. There is a minus 16 dBm reference line. We did talk about it very briefly, but we need to talk about it a little bit more, like
so
that much.
Yeah,
more.
Ape hit that for me.
If you read the regulations, you're
97.309 CFR 47.
Yeah, so if you read that, what it's going to tell you is that any priority submissions or harmonics need to be 40 dB below the fundamental on a radio operating from, I think it's 30 megahertz to 220 megahertz, lower than 25 watts of power. It has to be 40 dB down and it has to be below 25 microwatts. 25 microwatts converted to dBm is negative 16.02. So even if you're 40 dB down, but you're still above that, it's still a fail, right?
Yep. Now, the question you may be asking is, what does a
Thank you,
what
Rob.
does a decent radio look like?
Well, that
So-
the Dr. Tid look pretty good.
The Dr. T did look all right. Let's see. 146.
It's almost guaranteed, Jeff, that they're not going to be clean. So maybe 1 out of 10 that I've tested has been clean.
Yeah.
And that's the one.
Yeah, and
you're
I
not
I
sure
hate to
if they
say it.
fixed it.
I really do, but honestly, most of those Chinese radios have problems. They really do. Well, look at that.
I'll
That's
share it so
Chris-
they can see it.
Oh, I thought it was still shared. That's all I'm looking at. I can't see the other screen.
We had to go back for Ape's planning.
Gotcha.
Any tones are good, Paul.
Yeah, Anytones are great radios. Any guesses as to what this one might be?
Like, Chris, it's for sale.
That radio's
This must
probably
be
your
the-
Yaesu
This is the FT5D.
that you lost at Dayton.
Yeah, and those great people at Dayton recovered for me.
They're awesome.
Yep, that's a 5D. And you saw what that looked
You
like.
tested
That's
it? You tested it? I
beautiful.
didn't see it.
Do it.
Read
You
the
want to do it
chat.
again, Chuck?
That's all right. Whatever. I don't care. If you want.
Chuck, what? Are you mad?
No.
Ape, can you bring
We
up the
like
Wheel
your
of
wooden-
Feelings for Chuck, please?
We liked your wooden winder, Chuck.
I got to find that.
I mean, we didn't even mock the tear out you had on it where you screwed the pooch,
Yeah.
mean-
yeah. Whatever.
where you had some challenges.
Del Fargus and the Anytones. Del and the Anytones.
Yeah, Dell and the Anytones. And I think Ape's got some stuff he wanted to.
It's
share
not going
as
to
well.
happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
It keeps freezing up on the.
Okay.
He was trying.
So that is, let's see, what else we looked at? The Abri, which is the reference.
Jim, can you
curve.
pull up your scope? Could you pull up the scope screen?
Yep. I got them both sitting right here and ready to. Boop.
And then feed that Abri into the scope.
Copy.
And then under your measure menu, turn on the frequency counter.
Yep. Talk about it a little while, Ape, because I got to get the adapter and get it plugged up. Because this uses a different adapter.
All right. So what we're going to test here is that when you have all of these different harmonics, your waveform that comes out of your radio is not sinusoidal when you emit an FM carrier. And so when you're doing FM modulation, what it's doing is taking data or information, in this case your voice, gets modulated on top of that carrier signal. When that carrier signal is not correctly shaped, you're going to get audio distortion. And the sad part about that is that you'll have people using this radio and be like, I think it sounds real good. And I get good signal reports. And I don't know why I do that accent whenever I do that, but I just do. and then what happens
At least you
is
didn't do a
that
southern accent, you jerk.
there people are just telling you that your signal sounds good, or they don't know any better. That's really the case on that. And so what we can do is we can connect these up and see if you have a clean sinusoidal wave. The other thing is, like I've seen like on the Talk Pod, which is the worst radio ever,
Which I don't have here to test. So.
It is.
is that it will tell you that it's transmitting on a different frequency because the waveform is so distorted.
All right.
What are you showing off there, Tio?
I'm still playing with these cameras.
No.
All right.
That's right, digital
Trying to
answer.
get
Loud
the
is not
focus.
necessarily good.
Yeah, loud has a quality of its own, but that doesn't.
And
make it right.
there is smoke signals, and so I do tests on my channel showing the SINAD test, which is your signal to
I see you,
noise
Chris.
and distortion, and you can see how well the radios receive as well.
All right, we want to do frequency counter. I'm looking right at it and I can't see
Jim's
it.
getting all up in them guts. Look at him.
There it is. Okay. Go away.
Now I'm going to bet that this is a messy sine wave, and I'm going to bet that the frequency's off.
Well, crap. Just keep vamping there, son.
I can tell you, right before the stream, Jim was telling us his resume of extensive testing going back years, wasn't he?
Oh, you were such
was.
a liar.
He's like, I've been testing HTs 35 years, boy. I was testing it.
The only good part about him saying he was testing HTs was that he didn't say flex 97 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chuck, what are you doing?
I was showing that to Gray Man.
And we got
about. He's asking me about
I hooked it up to the wrong scope.
Hermes.
I hooked it back up to the SVA.
See, here's what we have going on with this guy. Can you believe this crap?
Oh, I totally missed it, Vern. Vern is wanting to give away an ICOM, I think it's ICOM, ICV80. Vern, is that correct? Sound off in the chat, my friend.
And
There's
look
so
at
much
this.
going on in the chat today.
Thank you, Jeff. And we will play the clip now. Much appreciated, Jeff. Jim is almost ready, folks.
Jim is almost ready.
He is suffering from an unmentionable medical condition today, which is probably slowing him down a little bit.
Slow me down a lot.
Hey, Bill.
I'm just saying it's kind of painful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, my gout foot started acting up before I went on vacation, but
You
luckily
didn't
I drank
send
the
us
cherry
pictures.
juice. Huh?
did
I drank
not
the
send us
cherry juice and it
pictures.
felt better.
All right. There we go. And let's fire it up.
All right, so while you're
So you
doing that, Jim, Vern has said, now it's scrolled off the screen. Vern has said correct. Vern is giving away an ICV80, an ICOM
Nice radio.
ICV80. And let me share that out.
There's your Abri.
All right, hold on now. Hold on. How do we add this thing?
I'm sharing the tab.
But it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
shared on the
Ape's
screen,
doing
so that's
the
not
Randy
that's
job.
not a clean sine wave. And how come your frequency count? Or so you're injecting in the signal 2, and your frequency counter is set for signal 1.
Oops. Yep. I didn't change that.
Lordy, it's like playing cards with my brother's kids.
I know, right?
It's a little sideways, like Ape after about 27 Miller Lights.
There we go.
Yeah, I got some on ice upstairs. Well, look at that. I'll be dipped, to quote Joe
Yeah.
Brett. It is right on the frequency, but that's not a clean sine wave, and you're going to
It
get
is.
distortion.
That is an ugly, ugly sine wave. Yeah. And
That should be real purdy like.
That's like the
Yeah.
Rip Curl logo.
It is.
I mean, I think we're at Point Break or something here, surfing.
This is like coastal
surfing the
waves and
bonsai
wires
pipeline.
right here.
So what is the other one that you have?
Square. It's not
What is the
square,
other one
it's-
that you have that's got hook that? I know it's going to be 20 minutes, but can you hook up the radio oddity to that?
Yeah.
The GC5?
Yeah, I think.
While
it's
he's
DC.
doing that, like I said, Vern is giving away this radio. This is a not out to his channel. His channel name is What's Up With 6, and he's giving away an ICV80. And so type in with 6 in the chat if you'd like that ICV80 radio. And again, US only, unless you're willing to pay shipping.
Vern, thank you, my friend. If you haven't met Vern, Vern is fairly awesome.
Wonderful human being.
And his wife's awesomer. I'm just going to say that right now.
Well, she
Just
certainly
good
looks
looks,
better
yeah.
than Vern.
That's it. Not a high bar, but she certainly surpasses
Jason.
the daylights out of it.
Love you both.
Jason.
Frequency mode.
Thank you,
I
Jason.
like this, the sixes.
Thanks, Jason. And I hope Jason's a beer drinker with that IPA at the end.
And Jason was super cool and hammed forward his stuff that he won last week.
He did. Did we play the music? Because that totally blanked out on my side of the stream. That could be me.
Yeah,
It
we
played
did.
here.
We played.
It played here.
Awesome.
All right, are we going to do the
We're
drawing,
ready.
or are we gonna?
Let's do the drawing.
Draw it up. 90 entries. You could be the winner. If you win, this is U.S. shipping only, and we need you to sound off in the chat with some contact info for you. If you're good on the Z, Jeff Winget. Winget? I don't know how to pronounce that. That's totally on me.
Shay.
Jeff, let me know how to get in
Congratulations,
contact
Jeff.
with you. We'll make it happen.
Steve, I need you to set up one more drawing too.
Let's hear from Jeff, and then we will do that for sure.
Yeah. And what's up in 6 with
Oh.
6?
Yep.
Thank you, Vern.
Thank you, Vernsky.
Thanks, Fern.
Vern,
All right,
you
now
gonna
we're
be
going to
available?
get you.
Jeff, you won. You won, Jeff. Let me know.
What did Jeff win?
Jeff won the ICV
Burns
80,
Radio.
but we need
That's
some
right.
contact info.
Need some contact
fired.
info there.
Fire it up, James.
All right. So this is the our friend the Rady Oddity GC5. And
Look at that.
what
Dude,
the
worse.
hell? Wait a
That's not
second, I
even
got
a
an
wave.
appropriate-
You tighten that up a
the
little
hell?
bit.
Slow your roll. Slow your roll, son. Slow your roll.
What frequency is it supposed to be on?
14652.
I mean,
Lordy.
Colin, we're happy to do non-U.S. prizes if you're willing to pay the shipping, but we don't have those kind of deep pockets.
words.
That looks like my
fail me.
echocardiogram.
Son, you need to see a
Yeah,
doctor.
on a good
Get your
day.
EKG.
Yeah.
Oh,
And see,
crap.
here's the amazing thing, right? Like these companies, and I've been fired from all of them at this point.
At
Radio
least
Oddity,
once.
TID, TalkPod, Abri. I mean, the thing is that we should be shaming them for this kind of stuff, right? Because think of there's probably thousands of hams out there that have bought these radios on good faith, thinking that they're going to be clean and work correctly, and they just don't.
Richard Slusher, you are exactly right. It's like
There's
you're
the
going
inside of a
sideways with
TID.
your brother's kids.
Yeah, I want to see that inside there, Chuck.
Lee's asking if there's a
screen.
mic
Big
plugged
and-
in when you PTT.
No. Yeah, well, the onboard.
Finals. I think this
Jeff
is the
is good on the
finals, right?
Z, Vern.
There, guys, right
KK7PRJ.
Yeah, it looks like that's the filters in the upper left-hand corner.
Because there's the heat sink for the finals right there.
Good work,
Well,
Chuck.
there's the backside if you want to see it.
Yeah, I see the backside of that thing.
Show us
That's
your
the
backside,
backside.
Charles. Yeah, and I
then-
think to go along with what Ape's talking about, we have almost 190 watching. Thanks you guys for being here. To go along with what Ape's saying, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, okay? So before anyone gets their feelings hurt, I'm going to say it. The YouTubers keep getting free radios and doing reviews on them. They need to be testing them because
Yeah, and thankfully many, many more are. And
And
you know,
yes.
years ago I was guilty. I wasn't testing them. I didn't even know what a harmonic was, right? So
Right.
so part of that's the education process around the whole thing.
Well, and that's where I was going exactly was, that's what we do. That's what we're enjoying doing, right? All four of us.
Oh,
and,
for
and
sure.
a whole lot of other YouTubers that are not as cool as us, but they're still YouTubers. We're trying to educate and stop buying cheap Chinese radios. I know when we say your Baofeng is junk, unless you're really, really, really broke and need a starter radio. But honestly, save your money and at least buy a bottom of the line ICOM or a bottom of the line Yaesu, and even an old one that's not a complete flaming turd. That Abri, I mean, that could actually cause someone to get hurt, right?
Yeah.
If you're keying up on that thing and walking over to the fire department when they're on their way to Meemaw having a medical condition, Meemaw could die because you were goofing off on your cheap Chinese radio, and it's just not worth it.
Right.
just
And
not
see,
worth
here's
it.
the part that I don't get is that you have people who will say stuff like, I got the Baofeng because that's all I can afford, or that's all I'm willing to spend, and those other radios are overpriced. And look, they are overpriced. I agree with you 100%. But the thing is that they'll be sitting there drinking expensive beer and then ragging on people like me who drink Miller Lite. Oh, you drinking that cheap beer, boy? Let me key up my Abri real quick, my MCOM Abri. And I just don't understand that.
So what you're saying is you're doing it for the family, Ape. You're drinking cheap beer because you want to save somebody's
No,
life.
I like
heard
cheap
ya.
beer.
Listen, the boy's not drinking Natty Light. I'll give him a pass on Miller Light. Okay, I've enjoyed
Yeah.
Miller Light once or twice myself.
I have, and the 878 is clean, Cliff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is essentially the BTEC 6X2, correct? Same radio.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that
Yep.
one is clean also.
Yep.
And then Arnold, I did the thing on the amp. I did another amp. I did the what is it, the MX50A or something like that a while back, and that one was dirty as well.
So that's kind of where we are, and this is the kind of stuff, and I've learned all this stuff in the last few years. I didn't start in ham radio, testing radios. I'm trying to learn as I go along anyway. I love the test gear, and I love seeing how the stuff works and what it's actually doing when it's doing, and I think a lot of the YouTubers, like Abe said, or Steve or whoever said it, have come a long way in the last year or so and started actually doing some testing instead of this radio has cool features, because a lot of these radios have nice features, but when you look at something like this Radiodity GC5, that thing is
There's
just
lots of things with nice features, and they all cost you money.
I haven't, Joe. Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? So if you look at these Chinese radios, we used to sit around and complain years ago that they didn't have USB-C, they didn't have APRS capabilities, they didn't have wideband receive. There was all kinds of things that we would they didn't have airband. Like, we would complain about that, and they listened, and they incorporated all of those things into their radio. Now it's time to complain about the spectral purity, right? And that output sine wave and synad measurements and that stuff. And they'll get it right. The thing is that as a community of hams, we have to vote with our dollars, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to keep selling them, they're going to keep selling them.
Yep. And I think the community, you guys, needs to share the wealth of knowledge that we try to share. Don't let your good ham buddies, don't let other good ham buddies buy crap radios. And I'm not pimping Yaesu or ICOM necessarily. I don't mean that. But just so many of these radios are just hot garbage. Really.
Yeah, 45. I tested that RT89. I got a video on it, and it is clean. So I mean, it's entirely doable to make them clean. It's just if they choose to do it or not. Oh, he's saying now he's going back and saying the RT85. I can't remember all the different numbers. I don't remember which one the 85 is.
Right
is that
now.
the Quan Chang copy?
I don't know.
No, that's the 79, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So,
David
Jim,
Campbell,
do we
that's
want to
right.
have a show, or are we just going to do giveaways tonight? You tell me.
I've covered everything I really wanted to cover, unless we want to look at more.
Good.
crappy
Giveaways it
HDs.
is. I think Jim has a giveaway that he wants to do. Speaking of crappy HDs, the TID Radio TDH8 could be yours.
This is the one we just looked at. This is the one
Wasn't
we
this
just
really-
looked at.
Which was good, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say, I wanted to put Jim's TIDs as the keyword, but I felt embarrassed.
You should.
I didn't want to make everybody type that
A
out.
little shame there.
Listen, you just roll it back, or I'll share with everyone what my medical problem is, and this will turn into 80 meters.
As long as you're not sure what my medical problem is, I'm totally okay with it. Go ahead.
No, we ain't gonna do that.
So this is, Jim, you're saying this is a clean radio right here?
Yes, this is the one I got from
This one looked
TID
good.
from China. It was in
That they
China
doctored up.
packaging.
Watts.
And you just saw it.
Richard is
I can
asking.
put it.
Go ahead, Jim.
I can put it back on the SA, and we can look at it again. Give me a second to plug that one back in. Oh, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Now I don't know what the
Jim. Missed opportunity, Jim.
what. God bless him.
Robert was asking you to show us your TIDs.
Oh Jesus! Y'all don't need to see anybody's titties. Certainly not my titties.
Certainly.
I said titty. Titty.
Ape,
T-I-D-D-I-E.
I don't know what you're talking about right now, bro.
I do that sometimes when people are having giveaways and you see a phone call going by.
Feeling cute.
I
might
saw
win.
it.
Now,
I
what
don't
we
listen
didn't
to that.
check, with the TID radio, is we'll put it on the oscilloscope and see what the.
Yeah, I'm
signal
sure
is.
it's fine if it's clean.
Well, and
Oh, I want to see it on the
check
scope.
me on this, but if the sine wave is jank, that is going to exacerbate the harmonic issue, correct?
Well, so if you have harmonics, the sine wave is likely janky. The other one is that you could not have harmonics, but still have a bad sinusoidal wave. So Chris, so when TID was first coming out with these radios and they were sending them to me, they were saying that they could fix it via firmware, and one of the firmware updates actually lowered the output power from, it's supposed to be a 10-watt radio, and it lowered it down to 5 watts, because typically lower the power, the cleaner the spectrum is when you do the thing. So I guess you could say yes, but it's mostly a firmware problem. I'm sorry, a hardware problem. So when I have the bad ones, I think they're in the trash can over there. I should dig them out, and maybe on a show we'll crack them open and see if the doctored one has different innards than the two bad ones.
All right. Here is, yep, thank you. Here is the TID on the oscilloscope.
It looked pretty good.
That looks,
Yeah, that looks real good.
ain't nothing wrong with that one. That's beauty. Absolute beauty. And we've already looked at this guy on the spectrum analyzer. I can put it on there again if y'all want, but
Nah, let's just give it away.
let's just give it away. And I have the box for it too, the original factory box.
I thought you said it came from, see, mine that came from China came in a nondescript cardboard box.
No, mine came in a
Yeah, mine with
nondescript
a bunch of
cardboard
yellow
box
tape.
covered in yellow tape,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
that was a TID radio box inside.
I think mine was just a regular
Cliff!
box.
Our man
There you
Cliff.
go, Cliff.
Cliff's a new grandpa today, too. Cliff, congratulations on
Wow.
both
Yeah.
fronts.
Congratulations.
Congrats, brother.
KI5OPP. Cliff, are you good on the QRZ?
On the Z.
If not, we know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah. Well, he's good on the toads. So Charles, what
There's
that's
your innards. There's your innards
there's
to
your
look at
TID.
right there.
You flip that thing over. There you go.
There you go.
Hold the board up to the camera, Chuck. Yeah, that one. Can you get in tight, or is that not going to focus if you get in super tight?
That's about as close. Let me just go this way.
That's okay. I was just wanting to. Okay, there you go. There you go. Look at you go.
Let me turn it the other way. Is that better?
I was trying to judge their solders.
So move it over so you can see the lower right-hand side, Chuck.
Okay. You tell me which side you're talking about.
There you go. And now, see all those coils? I
Uh-huh.
believe that that's where the low-pass filters are. I don't know with 100% certainty. What is that thing that's clipped off, like right there? Do you have like that?
That's the right here.
Yeah.
I think that's the antenna.
Yeah, so that would so typically your filters will come after your amplification stage. And so that's what we want to compare that group of filters there to the bad radio to the good radio and see what the difference is in the filtering network.
Now, do you think the difference could be parts quality, or do you think there's actual circuit differences? If you had to
I think
guess?
well, the thing is that the filters are shaped the same. They're probably Pi network filters. And so it could be the quality of the components that are in there or the values of the components that are in there. So
Well, that's what I was like. Are they 10% resistors or something in the Pi network as opposed to,
well, I think
1% or
that might
2%.
have something to do with it. But the other one is that a lot of these companies just keep copying existing designs, right? So if you could have bad Baofeng from 10 years ago and they're just using the same values, like, so we see bad filtering on the amps, right? So, and we see bad filtering on the antenna tuners, right? And so when we see that stuff, it's because they like that one antenna tuner, the 100A or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It has
AT100.
two different. It had two different diodes in the SWR network to measure SWR on it, because in the instructions on the schematic, it says you can use this diode or this diode. So but they have to match, but they just used one of each. And it's that kind of stuff that makes them bad. And what happened to Chuck? His screen is
That is
never mind.
Chuck.
Never mind.
I was on. It's clearer now because I was on digital Zoom. I put it closer for it.
From what I can see from Chuck's shaky cam there, I mean, the solder work doesn't look.
No, it looks
terrible.
good.
Well, that's done in
good
the
other than
PCB
that.
factory. That's not
Right,
done
I mean,
at the TID house.
PCB way does it.
Ron,
Yeah,
we've seen
there
your
was
question. We're going to do questions in a little bit here. Go ahead, Chuck.
So there's your finals right there. There's two of them. It looks like right there. And if you look at the other side of it,
The white box?
There's no. The two little black. That's the battery.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Those ICs.
You can
Point
see
to it
two
again,
very
Chuck.
similar black ICs next to each other.
Yeah,
It's just hard because
right,
the way you were pointing them out.
right there,
There's one,
Okay.
and the other one.
and then one straight across. Right there.
That one right there.
Those guys.
And if
Thank
you
you,
look
Chuck.
at the other side, there's your.
So
your
Mr.
heat sinks.
Andrews is asking, is this an SDR? This is not an SDR. This is direct conversion. It's still similar to SDR, but it's just one level of technology before SDR.
Yeah, so SDR actually uses direct conversion as well, but it's the way that they do the mixing post direct conversion is the difference. So like the mixing will happen in like a FPGA on an SDR. So like with a super heterodyne radio, when your signal comes in, you have an intermediary frequency. It's the IF frequency that's always the same. So what happens with the front ends on the direct conversion radios is that they create an IF frequency on the fly based off of the channel that the radio is tuned to. And it's susceptible to mixing problems because if you have competing or strong signals coming in, the radio is hearing both of them, even though your radio is tuned to a particular frequency. It hears both of them and attempts to filter them out. But if it's competing strong signals, it confuses that on the fly intermediary mixing frequency. And that's why you get front end overload.
All right.
Folks, we got some questions in the chat we can
Yeah,
go
what
over. Let
questions
me
have we got,
go.
Steve.
Let me go to that. Let's see. Scrolling. All right, so our buddy JampScan is asking, does it change when you speak into the radio on low power? So this is FM radio. FM puts out a carrier signal of, the full amount of power. So you don't have to speak at all. The carrier is then modulated to get your voice across. So it should not matter if you speak into the radio or not. Jim, have you seen a difference when you speak versus just straight PTT with no audio?
No, because FM is frequency modulation. So the modulation, instead of increasing the power or decreasing the power, like sideband.
On
and
your scope,
AM,
you might though, right?
You might, but it's not going to affect those harmonics.
You'll see it more on the you'll see it more on the spectrum analyzer because what'll happen is that the occupied bandwidth of the signal will increase
If
with the
you're- yeah, if
modulation
you're-
with the FM
right.
deviation.
If you're zoomed in really far, the way we were looking at it tonight,
You wouldn't see anything.
you're not going to see nothing because we're not zoomed in that far. I couldn't see 4 or 5 harmonics. If we zoomed in super far on like the primary carrier, the primary signal, then yeah, absolutely, you could see the signal change as you spoke. What Ape's just talking about was the deviation, which is what, 500.
It can vary with the radio.
And I'll probably be doing a video on that sooner or later. I've got an RF signal generator, and I've got some things kind of floating through my head how I want to talk about with that. And it can put out a clean RF signal on whatever frequency I tell it from like DC to daylight. So, but that's a good question. But yeah, that's not what we were really looking at tonight. The one point that Ape mentioned earlier that I do want to reiterate, and I don't know if we hit it hard enough, like with the Abri. So I don't remember what the power rating is on this, but let's say it's 10 watts is the official power rating. But that 10 watts is spread across every one of those harmonics. So if you have the fundamental signal might be, 5 watts, and then your harmonics are 2 watts apiece, there's your 10 watts. And instead of putting out 10 watts on 146.52, you're putting out X amount of power across 4 or 5 different frequencies when you have harmonics like that.
Makes them easier to
is-
find you if they're looking for you
Right.
too.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the Splashmaster 3000 right here, baby.
I remember laughing because I was we were either chatting or streaming when you tested that the first time, and I
Yep.
remember being like, "Oh my god!"
Oh,
We were chatting. I think
wow.
we were chatting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, our buddy
some more
Arnold Grubbs
questions?
has the next question. Same final device, same drive, but power adjustment due to lowering device voltage causing clippage. So this was on the GC5 where it puts out a clean signal on high and a dirty signal on low. And then I believe he's talking about battery power, like input voltage versus output wattage versus low power versus high power versus filtering versus. Take it away.
Yeah, so when you have your final amplification stage in most amplifiers, there is a feedback circuit on there that controls the amount of power that goes into your final transistors. And so I'm trying to get this open real quick so I can hold it up. But this amplifier that I tested today, if I turn the volt, so if I hook this one right here, if I hook this up to my power supply and I turn my power supply
Sorry,
down
Dad.
to, it's the Micro PA50, and I really like it, but it did test dirty, so it's a little bit of a shame. But if you test this with like 11.5 volts going into it, the power output coming out is going to be lower with the same power going in than if I had it set to 13.8, because I'm feeding more power into those amplification circuits. Now, what can happen is if you have too much power going in there, you get more distortion because they become saturated, and that's when you get clipping. So like when your sine wave gets bigger than the allotted space, it'll clip the top and the bottom of it off, and then that's what's meant by clipping.
All
Thank you,
David.
David
We got a
Campbell.
super
David
chat
Campbell.
from
Thanks,
David
David.
Campbell.
And
got
I
it?
got it coming up. Give me 1 second here.
We won't tell.
I gotta find the dang old thing. There it is.
Real quick, Abe, keep that handy. Thank you very much for the super chat there. My friend Jim from Airwaves GPS. Check out airwavesgps.com. He wants to hear more trumpets.
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on 1 second.
Give
And
you
we
extra
got
trumpets, Jim. I can't wait to
And
make
then-
the
Alrighty.
new bumpers from Simon.
They're coming soon. They're coming soon. Lee is saying, was there a Jim question? No, there's no question you could ask Jim that you want to hear the answer to. Del Fargus is saying, unkey, you're feeding back in the ears of the kid working the drive-through down the street. Garage doors are opening around town, and the satellite just crashed in my yard. Del,
Exactly.
take that satellite to the bank, my friend. But this is the way that radio works, and this is why we do what we do. What else do we have here? We have the 16 dBm. We did explain that, Robert, and I just caught back up to our starred chats there. Jim AG9FE, how much do you think is making out of the antenna not tuned to that harmonic? So if you're keying on 146.52 and you have a harmonic that's only 10 dB down when it should be minus 40, but and also below the 25 microwatts, how much signal is getting out at 146.52 times 2 is 22, blah, 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 blah. We don't math on
293.
stream, you know what I mean. 293 and change. How much power is getting out on 293 and change?
a whole heck of a lot. So I think what he's saying is that if you have an antenna that's resonant on 146.52, and good luck with that with an HT.
Yeah.
Are you going to get SWR on frequencies outside of that and have them go back into the radio and have it fold back? I think that's probably the gist of what he's getting at. And Jim has demonstrated a bunch where you'll key up on a radio and then have another radio tuned to the harmonic, and you can hear it plain as day.
You can hear it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
it's just
you're pretty
Maybe-
close.
frequency.
You're pretty close by,
Yeah.
but either way, the regulation is peak envelope power at the transmitter output. So you're supposed to measure it there, and the answer is it gets out.
I mean, it's a valid question. Jim asks a good question, but right, it's
Yeah.
And when I'm testing it with the spectrum analyzer here, you can't. I don't know why I'm dangling the wire, but I'm testing it at the radio, at the transmitter, and that's going straight into
where
the
the
input.
FCC tests it.
Yeah,
That's
straight into
where
the
this.
input
It's
of
where the
SC.
test is required to be taken.
Right.
Our
And
buddy
if you,
John, how are the TYT radios? Depends
I've
on which
never
one you
tested
get.
a TYT.
I might have tested
Oh,
one
you
a long
haven't?
time ago. I'd have to look. But look on my channel, John. There may be a
That one off
TYT
then.
on there, but if there is,
But
it's
I'm going to
random,
bet
and
it's bad. I'm going to bet it's bad.
I don't
They got-
remember.
they got a
No,
certain
I think
reputation.
I did a Redivis or something. Yeah.
Jeff is asking, what's a good, affordable, compliant radio for newbies? And I did a UV5R++, and it was clean. But, luck of the draw on that, number one. And number two, for $25, buy a couple, test them out with a $50 tiny SLA,
there's
return them.
There's that radio,
What's the
that one
cheap Yaesu?
radio oddity. There's a radio oddity for $25. It's clean. It's
Isn't there a Yaesu like $40 or something like that? One of the
it's like 65 now. Hold on one second. Let me
is
see if
it?
I can go find the radio oddity.
Chuck, the one you're thinking about, I think, is the VX60. Is that right?
something like that. Yeah, it was actually it's I think it was more their commercial line, the VX stuff, right?
Well, and that's still a great radio. I mean, the difference between 25 and
we missed
60
one.
is back off to McDonald's for a couple extra weeks and get you something like a VX60 or that ICOM that Vern has. Or look in the
Mike wants
used VHF market because there's a ton of used VHF, UHF radios floating around the used market that are not priced like they were brand new in 1980. Unlike the
Thank you, Mike.
That's right.
He
Mike,
was
I
still
have
talking.
yet to catch you on a POTUS, son. I'm looking for you, brother. I'm looking.
I haven't
ain't
either,
found you
but
yet.
he's been doing a lot of them.
I know. I keep seeing his videos, but I ain't caught him yet.
I can't find the radio oddity, but it's like it's their version.
orange one?
No. The orange one's bad. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
It's bad.
The FT4XR is $90, is what Jim is saying.
Oh,
So I don't know about the
Robert-
Alenco, Rob. That's a possibility, but I don't have one to test.
We have no knowledge. It doesn't mean good or bad. It just means we don't know. And Robert has a fantastic channel where he chases a lot of satellites. Digital Rancher on YouTube. Thank you, Robert.
And
I
if
would
you
think
guys,
Alenco's good. Just a thought.
I know, brother. I don't know.
The GT5R from Radio Oddity. They call it the upgraded legal version of the UV5R. It's $26.99, so it's going up $1 something in price. But that one's clean, and that's the one I suggest that people get all the time because your Baofeng components will fit it. It's the same form factors as UV5R, so the batteries will work, the charging cradle will work, all that stuff.
Yeah. ATR has a good question. So the difference there is the TYT 380 is a DMR radio. The FT65 is not digital.
Right.
Is it? I don't think it is.
It's not.
It's not.
So yeah, it's going to be FM only. And if that's all you need is for non-digital, then yeah, I'd get the Yaesu all day over a TYT.
I don't think we have holiday jingle music. Do we?
Good question.
So-
This is the other Florida Todd.
All I want for Christmas. Okay.
No.
I'm looking
So
through the
the
thing.
The FT4XR is $90.
Sadly, Jim, at this point, you are hotter than Mariah Carey. I just have to say that. Only because she's worn out. Because we've been playing her too much.
Other Florida Todd,
That
how
was
are you
odd.
doing, brother? And Chris, Radio and Life, has been a member for 3 months.
Thank you,
This is
Chris
outstanding.
Radio for life. All right,
All
what
right,
else
thank
we
you very
got here,
much.
boys?
Cliff's asking about what's good and what is not. And Cliff, we don't have a specific list on this. We should actually get on that. But we have
We
on our
should.
channels, collectively, we have a group of reviews of individual radios that all show whether they're good or not.
Yeah.
Tom is asking, does it have an FCC registration sticker? Yep, but that ain't hard to fake.
Yeah.
Well,
And
even
has
even
been
if it's fake, the
faked
FCC
before.
registration sticker is not, because most of them will have like a Part 15 certification, and that's for a certification for incidental radiator. There is no FCC certification for Part 97. The onus is on the licensed ham who's operating the equipment to make sure that their radio is compliant with rules and regulations. So they don't. There isn't an FCC regulation that covers what we just tested today. it's for incidental radiator, which means that when you key up, it's not going to impact or cause interference to like your TV or your car stereo or anything like that.
Right.
But they can, and there's nothing that you can do about it because nobody's going to listen to your complaint.
And to look it up, you need to go look for, and I want you all to take this as an exercise. Go look up CFR 97.307, and sub item E is the one that covers this, specifically about the emanations and the spurious emissions and the harmonics. And like item C or B, there's only about 6 or 8 items in 97.307. Read all of them. But one of them specifically is what the primate just said, that the onus is on me, you, us as hams to make sure that we are doing our best to not screw the pooch on, all over the frequencies like the Splashmaster 3000 here.
Thanks, Jeff. Much appreciated, brother.
Thank you, Jeff.
And we got
Our
another
buddy
one in here.
Ron. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jason. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Cyberman. Ron has a question. Do we check for spurs below the transmit frequency? There is a reason why we do not check for spurs below, and that's because they don't really happen below. Ape can do a better explanation on this. Take it away, Ape.
No, you just hit it. They don't happen below. So it's
doesn't
a
happen
above
below.
thing.
Yep. And Gray Man, old Tim.
Oh, shucks, David. Thank you, buddy.
Dave, I test too.
There's Gray Man, 89.95 on HR's website. And so what we can do is John is going to be on Saturday, right? You can ask him to
Give you a discount?
see what he can do to get you a discount coupon. And then
Jim has dropped a couple of
he did this one and he did this one. Thank you very much, Jim.
bonus.
All right. Thank you, Jim. We got ATR Mid Tennessee Weather is asking about the TYT 380. When did you get a DMR radio for scanning local EMA frequencies? Don't know.
Well, it's
So
tough
I
too
have-
because with DMR you got to key up to get into the talk group, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you can put it in promiscuous mode, but you still have to. Yeah.
And then somebody was asking a question if we can put filters on the thing. You can. So you can add a filter in between your radio and your antenna. The radio is still technically non-compliant because it's supposed to be measured at the transmitter output. All right. So when you
Still
put an
legal.
external filter, when you put an external filter in there, technically, I guess you're not riding dirty, but the radio still is. So you can do that, but that becomes cumbersome, in my opinion, because a lot of times, you need to put an extended filter on there so it doesn't interfere with the operation of the knobs that are right next to the antenna port.
And then you could have just
so if
bought
you
an ice
get
radio.
a $25 Baofeng and a $25 filter, why don't you just spend $50 on a
Right,
good radio?
Yeah. Drop
And they are.
90.
You can do it.
Well, the
Back
filter,
off the
Josh did a video showing a
$7
filter,
coffee
was
at
50 for the
Starbucks.
filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bought
you
a
got
$50
$75
filter for a
Baofeng, huh?
$25 radio,
Can't do it.
and
Can't
for
smell it.
$15 more, you could have a brand new Yaesu. So Ed has copied the link. This is the one I use to look up these things. That ECFR Gov Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, and there is the whole link to 97307. So, and guys asking about radios, look on my channel, look on Ape's channel, look on Steve's channel. That's the radios we've tested. I would love to test every radio in the world, but nobody's sending them to me.
Right.
Only
It
so
gets
much
On a
expensive.
regular basis. I bought all these radios with the exception of the
See you, Mike.
TID radio. I bought, and I love you guys, but I can't be testing
Yeah.
every
So
radio comes out.
Ron's
I'd love
asking, he's saying I would think that there might be transmit mixing products produced below the TX frequency. Back in the days of Crystal's phase lock loops, we look for those too. I think you're talking about like third order intercept or intermodulation distortion that happens
Yeah.
typically through the outbound pass band filter. Not your band pass, but the pass band filter. And you definitely see distortion artifacts in there as a result of mixing errors. That's typically where you see them. You wouldn't see them in terms of a harmonic that is one half of the transmitting frequency. Like in the cases that we tested today, they're multiples of the transmitted frequency.
Yep.
And then Joe Damo is asking about the 125B. Our friend K at MRD, K Murder, Mike over at Ham Radio Tube, has checked out the XPA 125B, but we have not. And it's harder to test things that put out 100 watts than it is to test things that put out 5 watts.
Yeah, I'd be
Order
interested
of
in
magnitude more
testing that thing
expensive.
out. I remember Mike did the video like 2 years ago. I don't remember what the results were. I think it was clean, but I don't know if they were looking at the 40 dB below and all that kind of stuff. I just don't remember.
And that's different for HF than it is for VHF, which is different than it is for UHF, right, Abe?
Yeah, so when the requirement for VHF cuts off at 220, technically there isn't a requirement above that. Now GMRS does have its own requirements, but it's based off of percentage for standard deviations away from the frequency. So it's a really difficult math thing to figure out. It is also different for the power output that you're using, and it's different depending upon the age of the radio. So you do need a slide rule to figure out what you should be looking
Very
at.
complex question. And I don't test GMRS radios in that same scenario because the
Yeah.
GMRS regulations are like really wicked crazy.
Yeah.
It's all logarithmic and stuff.
I wouldn't even attempt to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. John is asking, we as hams can't interfere with other users, but how can other users with RF interference can affect us? So we can interfere because we have a license to produce the signals that we produce, and they are required to accept the frequencies, but we are also good stewards of the airwaves, and we need to be polite with our other users. But if your television goes sideways when I key up, that's on you with your bad television, not on me with my bad radio. Your radio is Part B certified, so it has to accept interference. As a good neighbor, I should not do that. But yeah, play the game nicely, folks.
Well, also ham radio frequencies are experimental frequencies, I believe. And so the thing is that if you interfere with a public service frequency, you're going to get in trouble. If you
that's
interfere with the
different.
ham frequency, nobody's going to say anything. I think it comes down to what the actual spectrum where you're causing interference actually does. But Tio's right. Your TV should have shielding in it so that when you transmit, it doesn't cause any problems. Now, if I have, if I'm pushing a gallon out my antenna, which happens to be a 12-element Yagi, and I'm pointed directly at your house, then I'm probably doing something unbrotherly there.
Uncool, man. Uncool.
But I gotta take a pee, man. How long are we gonna run this thing?
Well, we are at 8:30. I mean, this has been, I think, a good show.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
So, fellas, I am going to hit the button. You guys got anything thoughtful or witty to say before we hit the button? Or
Love you all.
P.
Thanks for being
Steve
here.
gave us thumbs up. Chuck
Thanks, John, for that information.
waved.
And thanks everybody in the chat. Had a great time.
Guys, have a good evening. See y'all.
Later all.
Oh, it just told me I couldn't.